Fox News Alert now. The Pentagon monitoring reports that Russia is using chemical weapons in Mariupol. The city's mayor says more than 10,000 civilians, maybe 20,000, have been killed thanks to Vladimir Putin's barbaric activity. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan joined us now. Congressman, every time the Russians are confronted, they lose. They have called up 60-year-olds to start serving. The Ukrainians, though, are braced for the worst yet, and there don't seem to be any rules with this Russian army. Where do we go from here?
Well, I think we continue to help. I mean, remember, Brian, the conventional wisdom was when this started that Russia was going to overrun Ukraine in a matter of a couple weeks, get to the capital, Kyiv, and take over. And that has not happened, largely because of the courage and the leadership of President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people. What the Russian people are, what Russia's doing is as wrong as it gets. But let's keep helping Ukraine with the sanctions we're putting on Russia, which are helping there, and of course the defensive weapons that we are helping provide to the Ukrainian army and the Ukrainian people. That is, I mean, again, I remember what the Pentagon said. This thing was going to be over in a short time. That has not been the case, I think, because, again, the toughness of the Ukrainian people and because we've been helping them with weapon support. Oh,
you mean, Congressman, the same Pentagon, same Mark Milley that told us that the Afghan army would withstand any type of Taliban run and there's no way Ghani was in danger? Is that the same Pentagon? They said it was going to fall in 72 hours? Same Pentagon?
Yeah. Same one. You know, the picture that I think is in so many Americans' mind about the Biden administration and what we've been told by the Biden administration, I will never forget that plane in Afghanistan last summer that's taken off. And you guys had this clip on your show so many times, but where that plane's taken off and people are literally trying to jump on the wheels of an airplane as it's leaving.
Yes.
That shows you how wrong they've been on so many foreign policy decisions. And it demonstrates that you can't project weakness from the Oval Office, because when you do, bad things are going to happen.
And there's good and bad in the world. Putin is evil. Russia's Kremlin is evil.
Sure is.
And more evil, how about the Chinese government? First off, let's pause for 10 seconds and listen to one of the most prosperous cities in China as they find out they're not allowed to leave their houses because of some COVID-positive tests. Listen to this. In Shanghai, they have sealed citizens, 23 to 25 million, in their house, most asymptomatic, without food or water. Those screams are a desperate cry for some nourishment from their oppressive government as the army walks in the streets. Is this the way to handle COVID-19 that they gave the world?
Of course not, but this is it. No, of course not. This is terrible, but this is what happens in authoritarian regimes. And this is look. There were some things happen in our country, though, from the left that were wrong as well. Nothing like that, but I mean, there were steps. Remember when the governor of Michigan said you couldn't leave your suburban house to go to your cabin in northern Michigan, because even though you'd be out in the middle of nowhere where you could socially distance. But remember when she said you could go to the hardware store, but you could buy certain things, but you couldn't buy garden seeds because, after all, we wouldn't want you out gardening outside. I mean, that's how ridiculous it's gotten. Fauci wanted to do more things to this country as well, but thank goodness conservatives and Republicans pushed back, so it didn't get crazy like it has in some other places.
Yeah, and Dr. Fauci would not even condemn the actions of China and says they shouldn't feel bad about afflicting the world with this horrible virus, which they still haven't told us the origin to. That's for another time.
Yeah.
Now let's fast forward to Hunter Biden. I'm shocked. Even Yahoo is now saying they have problems, along with the Washington Post and New York Times, with Hunter Biden's activities. Now the Republicans, you included, leading the way, are looking for a probe of his texts. In what respect? Where's the focus?
Well, it sure looks like now it's a family enterprise based on the recent text messages we've seen. And I'm just amazed at how this story has changed, because it initially started out as it wasn't his laptop. Then it was quickly, well, it was his laptop, but it was Russian disinformation. And now it's, well, it wasn't Russian disinformation, but Joe had nothing to do with it. And now we learn, well, Joe did have something to do with it, but his chief of staff says he did nothing wrong. It doesn't appear to be the case when you look at these recent text messages. So we're going to look at all this. One of the things we did last week, Brian, is we sent a letter to the 51 former intel officials who signed that letter, because remember, it was that letter that became the basis for the conspiracy of big tech, big media, Democrats all saying, oh, this is a story that the American people shouldn't see, even though we were just days before the presidential election. So those 51 intel officials, we want to know who they talked to. What was the basis of their letter that said, oh, this has all the earmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign? That was baloney. But when former intelligence officials say something, it carries added weight. Much like when Adam Schiff told us all the things he did as the intelligence chairman, you think, well, he's the intelligence chairman, he must know something. But he was telling us things that weren't accurate either. So that is a big problem when these people tell us things that are not true, and that becomes the basis for keeping information from we the people. So we want to look at that and this now what looks like certainly a family enterprise with these text messages that have recently surfaced.
And who would ever thought the New York Times and Washington Post would help you with this investigation? Suddenly they have a newfound curiosity. It all could be about an indictment that could be coming down, and they could be on the wrong side of the facts again. Can you imagine life, Jim, to getting to the facts if you were actually in the majority?
Yeah, well, we're going to, if we get the majority, if the American people put us there, we're going to look at this. We're going to look at the lab leak theory with the Fauci situation. We're going to look at the school board's issue that the Department of Justice is treating moms and dads as terrorists. We're going to look at all those issues because the American people deserve the truth. Right. So we're going to focus on all those issues. It's
really great to know the teachers unions writing the CDC rules and regulations, too. I hope you can touch on that. Congressman Jim Jordan, thanks so much.